This is the November 2013 non-calculator paper, and again this is mainly for my class this year, and we're looking at getting a grade C, which is 33 marks, and possibly even a grade B, which is 51 marks on this paper. So I've been through and I've looked at it, and I think there are 45 marks which we've definitely covered this year, and there's another 11 marks which might be available to us. So we've got plenty of slack there if we want to get a grade C, and for those people that are looking at a grade B, it is possible on this paper as well. We're going to have to get a lot of things right though. So first of all, we're looking at this question here. So this is one of the proportion recipe type questions, as they're called on the top 40 list, and this is how it works. This is a recipe for 4 people, and Billy's going to make chicken soup for 6 people. So if I half it, then if I half 4 I get 2, and then if I times that by 3 I get 6. So if I take all the ingredients, if I half them, I'd have as much as I need for 2 people, and then times by 3 for 6 people. So for the butter, I've got 60 grams of butter. If I half that, then I get 30 grams of butter. I need 30 grams of butter to feed 2 people, and then I times that by 3, and I get 90 grams of butter. And that is what's going to go on my answer line down here. And then I've got to do the same for the others as well. So half 300 to 150, times by 3 to 450, 150 millilitres. If I half that I get 75. If I times that by 3 I get 225. 1, if I half that I get half. Times that by 3 I get 1.5 or 1.5. And 640, if I half that I get 320, times that by 3 I get 960. So those are the numbers that we were looking for there. Obviously you write them down there on your answer line. Okay, so we've seen a scatter graph on question 2, so before we do anything else we're going to put our line of best fit in, about half the points either side of the line. Now if we read the question, this is about documents being checked for errors, and the extra information we're going to add in is that 90 documents, 17 errors. So 90 documents, 17 errors is going to be 15, 16, 17, there we go. 90 documents, 17 errors, there's our extra cross. And as usual, the extra cross doesn't change where the line of best fit's going. The next question is describe the correlation. Well, positive correlation is where we're going up like this, so it's positive. If we had a line sloping downwards like that, it'd be negative correlation. And lastly, it says one day 110 documents checked, estimate the total number of errors in these documents. So we go on the document axis, we go across to 110, draw a line up to our line of best fit and across from our line of best fit. And we end up across here, 15's there, 20's there, so each little square, sorry, 2 little squares for 1 error. So this is just below 19, more than 18, so number of errors, well I'm going to say 19 for my number of errors there. Always watch out for the scale there, look, 15's here, 20's here, so there's 10 squares for 5 errors, so that means 2 squares for 1 error. Now with this one we're being asked for the volume. So the volume is the area of the cross section times the length of the cross section. Here is 3 centimetres by 4 centimetres, and it's a triangle. So area of cross section is 4 times 3 and then half it. So 4 times 3 is 12 and half it is 6 centimetres squared, and then we need to times that by 20 to get 120 centimetres cubed. And in this one, if you look on the answer line, normally they give you the units on the answer line, but they haven't done here. So there was a full mark here just for having centimetres cubed because it's the volume. And if all you wrote here was centimetres cubed, you get 1 mark out of 4. So always remember your units, or remember to check whether you need to put units in or not. Number 4, part A. Now this is a collecting like terms one. So let's deal with the y's first. There's just one y term, so just 4y. let's deal with the x's. We've got 2 x's there and 3 x's there. That's 5 x's altogether. And then, so I'll cross them off the ones I've done. I've got minus 3 plus 8. Well, minus 3 and a plus 8 is a total of 5. So there we go. Now this one, dotted circle around this one, so I'm not sure if everybody's going to be able to do this one, but it's not too bad. We've got to pull the biggest number that we can out. Well, there's a 9 here and there's a 6 here, so I'm going to get a 3 out of the front. That's the biggest thing that fits into 9 and 6. Now this is x squared, which means x times x. This is xy, so I can actually take an x out of the front as well, and that would be 3x. What would I have to put in the front of the brackets? 3x, and in the back of the brackets it's going to be 2y. And if you're not sure about this answer, don't worry, because this is the one that I wouldn't expect everybody to be able to do. We don't need to be able to do this in order to get a grade C, but you could just check it by expanding those brackets back out. 3x times 3x is 9x squared. 3x times minus 2y is minus 6xy. Expanding the brackets, the thing in front of the brackets times is both of the things inside the brackets. So 4 times x is 4x. 4 times 2 is 8. And this is another one of those things that you don't need to be able to do if you're aiming for grade C, but I think most people that are thinking about grade Bs have had a look at this one now. So that times that, first of all, that's x squared. Then the next line is that one, so that's 3x. Then minus 5 times x is minus 5x. And minus 5 times 3 is minus 15. So we end up with x squared. The x terms we can collect together, and the minus 15 is just as it is. So minus 15, our final answer is going to be x squared minus 2x minus 15. Next we get Jane has a packet of garden seeds. The probability that the seed will grow is 0.75. That's the probability that it will not grow. Well, that's 0.25. So the probability that it grows and doesn't grow has to add up to 1 there. Now this is another one that's a dotted line around this. Not everyone's happy with these, but we've seen some questions along these lines, and hopefully you're getting the idea now that if we've got 200 plants, the number of seeds that will grow, well, the probability the seed grows is 0.75, so we've got to do 0.75 times 200, which is 3/4 of 200, so 150 there. Okay, we've seen quite a few examples like that now, so actually the dotted lines are maybe a bit harsher, and then maybe we could all have a crack at that one. Now translate this shape by the vector minus 3, 2, so that means this is left and right, it's negative, so it's 3 spaces to the left, this is up and down, it's positive, so it's 2 spaces up. So I'll pick one of the corners, count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and that corner's going to end up there. I'm then going to draw my shape in. This is a slightly quick way. Don't forget, you always check any transformations question, apart from enlargements, you can check them all using tracing paper. So we would use a ruler, of course, but there's my answer. I'm just going to pick another corner and I'm going to check this corner as well. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and that's worked. And if we've got time in the exam, we check all the corners. And this one here, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So all the corners have ended up in the right place. And we check with tracing paper that we've drawn the right size shape as well. Now, describe fully the single transformation that maps Q onto R. Now, the mistake that a lot of people are making here is this word single. You can't, some people were saying, well, we do a rotation and then a translation. Now that would work apart from this word single. It's got to be only one transformation that maps Q onto R. So the first thing is that it's going to be a rotation to get Q onto R. Now, once we know it's a rotation, we need an angle. Well, you can hopefully see if we're going this way, well, that's the other thing. We're going to go anti-clockwise. And if you look at that, it's turned through a 90-degree angle. So the last thing we need to know is where's the centre of rotation, and this is the one where you put your tracing paper on, trace the shape that you're starting with, put your pencil on the tracing paper and spin it round and see where you have to put your pencil so that the shape Q ends up at shape R, and in this case you'd find out that it had to be 0, 0. So we say centre of rotation is 0, 0. The centre of rotation is 0, 0. that is this point here. Oops, 2 pages at once there. Okay, number 7. Rita's going to make some cheeseburgers for a party. She buys some packets of cheese slices and some boxes of burgers. There's 20 cheese slices in each packet. There are 12 burgers in each box. Rita buys exactly the same number of cheese slices and burgers. How many packets of cheese slices and how many packets of burgers does she buy? So there's cheese and there's burgers. Well, she can buy 20 cheese slices. If she buys 2 packets of cheese slices, there's 40, or maybe there's 60 or 80. And all we're looking for, this is 1 packet of cheese, 2 packets of cheese, 3 packets of cheese, 4 packets of cheese. And with the burgers, it's going to go 12 if she buys 1 box of burgers, 24 if she buys 2 boxes, 36 if she buys 3 boxes, and so on. And we're looking for a number that comes up in both lists. So let's keep this list going. 36, 48, 60, there we go. There's a number that's in both lists. So how many packets of cheese slices? That's 1, 2, 3 packets of cheese slices, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 packets of burgers. And the second part then, we've already answered this really. Rita wants to put 1 cheese slice and 1 burger into each bread roll. She wants to use all the cheese slices and all the burgers. How many bread rolls does she need? Well, she'll need 60, because she'll have used 60 burgers and 60 cheese slices. Now this one is definitely a bit of a tricky one, but we might be able to pick up a few marks. It's worth 5 marks, so let's see. Now, what we've got here is these marks here mean that these angles are actually the same size. So if those 2 angles are the same, this is an isosceles triangle, which means that 2 of the sides are the same length. In other words, this side here, 3x minus 5, is the same length as this side here. So 3x minus 5 equals 19 minus x. So it wants the perimeter of the triangle. So let's work it out from here first of all. We need to move the x's over the same side. So I'm going to move this x over to the left hand side. And remember, at the moment this is a minus x. So when I move it over, it will become a positive x. So 3x plus x is 4x. Something take away 5 is 19. So that something there, that 4x, has to be 24. And then if I divide by 4, so 4 times something is 24, what's the something? And so x is 6. So if x is 6, this side here is 2 times 6, that's 12. This side here is 19 take away 6, that's 13. This side here is 3 times 6, take away 5. So 3 times 6 is 18, take away 5 is 13. And as we expected, it's the same as this side. So the perimeter is 13 plus 13 plus 12, 26 plus 12, 38. And these measurements are in centimetres, so our final answer should be in centimetres. Now, hopefully this is a familiar sort of question. They've changed it a little bit. So as soon as we see a questionnaire question, we're expecting, as most of the answers are, that there is no time frame in the question and that the response boxes overlap. There are some other problems that we could look out for as well, but those are the main 2. Now, if we look at the first question, this isn't a question that needs a time frame, but if we look at our response boxes, then there we go, look, they overlap. There's 15 twice and there's 25 twice. So question 1, what's wrong with that? The response boxes overlap. Question 2, this one doesn't have a time frame. So how much exercise do you do in a week or in a month? So no time frame would get us a mark there. These response boxes, a bit, some, a lot. What I call a bit, you might call a lot. So what we say there is that the response boxes are open to interpretation. They can mean different things to different people. Next part, design a question Julia could use, and she wants to know how much time people spend exercising. So we'd have to say how much time do you spend exercising in, let's say, a week. So check you've got the time frame in there, and then the safest way of doing this is always put 3 response boxes. Make sure they don't overlap, and make sure that they cover all the opportunities. So I would say 4 to 6 hours in the middle, more than 6, and less than 4. Now, some people are getting confused thinking, well, look, this overlaps because there's a 6 here and there's a 6 here. But 4 to 6 hours means that if you exercise for exactly 6 hours, you could tick this box here, but you can't tick more than 6 because 6 hours isn't more than 6 hours, it's exactly 6 hours. So these two boxes don't overlap, and the same here, less than 4 doesn't include 4. So less than 4, 4 to 6, and more than 6. Now, question 10, if I'm honest, this is a little bit of a tricky one, but it's definitely one that we can tackle if we take it slowly. So, caretaker needs to polish the floor. 1 tin of polish normally costs £19. 1 tin of polish covers 12 metres squared of the floor. There's a discount of 30% off the cost of the polish, and he's got £130. So the trick with these questions, what we're looking for is, has he got enough money to buy the polish? The trick with these questions is always break it down into little stages. I think everybody realised that you need to find the area of the floor to start with when we did this as a test. So let's start there then. Let's find the area of this floor. And one way of doing that is to divide this into 2 rectangles down here. I'll call this one A, and I'll call this one B. So area A is 9 times 8. 9 times 8, which is 72 metres squared. Area B is 6 metres there, times by this length here. Well, this length here is all the way across 16, take away 9, so that area there is 7, so that's area B is 6 times 7, which is 42 metres squared, so the total area 72 add 42 is 114 metres squared. Now, if you got to there, you'd actually got 2. It might have even been 3 marks out of 5. There was a lot of marks for just this bit. So even if you can't do the whole thing, make sure you set out clearly what you can do. Now the next bit then is 1 tin of polish covers 12 metres squared of floor. So we need to work out how many tins of polish to buy. Well, how many tins of polish? Well, for that we need to do 114 divided by 12. But if you remember, this is a non-calculator paper. So how many 12s fit into 114? Well, if we know a 12 times table, we know that 12 fits into, let's say we're not quite sure. So so 12 fits into 60, and we can work our way up from there. So 60, 72, 84, 96, 108. So how many 12s fit into 108? Well, 60 is 5 12s, so 6, 7, 8, 9 12s there. 9 12s is 108, so 114 is more than 9 12s, but less than 10 12s. So we need 9 and a bit tins. Now we can't buy tins, we can't buy 9 and a bit tins, so we're going to have to buy 10 tins. So we need 10 tins. Okay, so maybe underline that bit or put it in a box because we've made a bit of a mess with the working out here, so we want to make sure that the important bits are clear. So we tried to do 114 divided by 12, which is 9 point something or other, and we need 10 tins. So if we're buying 10 tins, that should cost us 10 times £19, which should be 190, except that there's 30% off. So we need to find 30% of 190 and then take it away. So 10% of 190 is 19, 30% of 190 is 19 times 3, and 19 times 3 is 57. So we need to do 190, take away 57, which is £133. Now always go back and check the question. The question was, has the caretaker got enough money to polish the floor? Well, he's got £130, so our final answer is no, and we should probably write no, he needs another £3 or something like that. Question 11, another one which needs quite a bit of effort here, but we've just got to do a lot of careful reading of the question. So, Company posts some small letters and some large letters. Company posts all the letters by first class post. The tables show information about the cost of sending a small letter by first class post and the cost of sending a large letter by first class post. So here's small letters, here's large letters. So small letters always 60p and large letters different depending on how much they weigh. Company posts 200 letters. The ratio of small letters to large letters is 3 to 2. So small to large is 3 to 2. 70% of the large letters weigh 0 to 100 grams. The rest of the large letters weigh 101 to 250 grams. Work out the total cost of posting 200 letters. Okay, so if small to large letters, well, there's 200 letters in total. So that 200 gets split across these 5 boxes. That's 40 letters in each box. So that is 120 small letters and 80 large letters. Now that's already got us, I think it was 2 marks. It might have just been 1 mark, but we already get some marks for just getting this far. So as long as you've shown you're working out and it's clear what you've done here, you've got some marks. Now let's see, can we get the rest of the way? So 70% of the large letters weigh 0 to 100 grams. So how many is that? Well, 10% of 80 is 8. So 70% of 80 is 7 lots of 10%, so that's 56. So there are 56 letters in this category, and the rest of them are in this category, the rest of these 80 letters.